What do you do when your buddy's turbo Trans Am makes 1,000 horsepower, but the exhaust looks like it came out of a discount sprinkler aisle? You tear it off, grab some tubing, and pray you can fit 4 inches of stainless steel through a chassis that was never designed for it. Now, that might sound simple until you realize this car isn't just any F-body. This is Alex's 2001 Trans Am WS6, the same one that went viral 8 years ago when he turned quarter-mile times into 9-second bragging rights and turned himself into a full-blown YouTube personality. For him, it's more than a car. It's the one that started it all. And for me, it's personal too. The first time I worked with Alex was back in 2019, strapping his diesel Mercedes to my dyno. What started as a collaboration turned into a friendship, one where he kept pushing me to make more of my own videos, and one where we blended professional respect with plenty of sarcastic back and forth. Some of you even noticed in our greatest hits exhaust video that there's a lot of his cars showing up, and that's no accident. So when Alex brought me this car, I knew it wasn't just another project. It was one he actually cared about, which made the timing kind of perfect because around the same time, Alex mentioned Holly had invited him to LSFest East. He wasn't really planning on going, but funny enough, I had an invite too. Cue the inevitable bro moment, if I go, you go. And suddenly the Trans Am wasn't just going back under the knife. It was headed for center stage. But here's the catch. Alex doesn't just want to dump side pipe or some other half measure. He wants quad tips, OEM plus style, and zero compromises in flow. And since he insists on keeping the AC packaging, a 4-inch turbo back becomes less of a bolt-on and more of a solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. And just to complicate things further, we've got an idea that involves taking a very common exhaust component and running it backwards. Why? You'll see. Oh, and did I mention, we've got just over 2 weeks to build it, drive it to Kentucky, and have it sit pretty at Holly LSFest East. At the sponsor booth. No pressure. So yeah, the stakes are high and the space is tight and the deadline is ridiculous. If we pull it off though, you'll hear an F-body sound like nothing you've ever heard before. Stick around. You'll either think we've lost our minds or that Fluid MotorUnion's been doing this too long to back down now. And if you're here just to see Alex's car finally get an exhaust worthy of the legit street car's name, well, hit subscribe. We're gonna need the ad revenue to cover the stainless steel we just cut up. All right, Cody, this is Alex's 1,000 horsepower F-body Trans Am. I think this is the car that kind of built his channel and got him going, was the project of him going through this process maybe 10 years ago. When I had met him and we first started getting involved, he was at 30,000 subscribers and he was doing Mercedes stuff, but this was his kind of like performance project. A lot of stuff has kind of evolved over the years, but I think it's still relatively crude if I'm not mistaken, at least by our standards, you know, like, so big turbo. Is that a comp turbo? Oh yeah. Those are the oilless ones. I shouldn't say oilless, they're the
grease?
The grease or whatever you put in there.
Yeah.
Sealed bearing units. So I see the manifolds, forward facing, that's stainless. All right, that's good. And then, oof, that downpipe looks kind of rough. He apologized in advance and was like, it's kind of like going into 10 different sizes, a bunch of different things. So I wasn't sure what we were taking on. He's just not a fan of it. He knows it's not great. And he got invited to LSFest West, which is in Bowling Green, Kentucky, in about little less than 3 weeks now. So we've got to come up with something for him that makes this thing better, but also kind of showcases off what we can do given the opportunity. So I definitely don't want to do something run of the mill, but I don't even know what we're working with. I've only seen this car on YouTube. I've actually never been underneath it, so let's put it up. But that is a mild steel galvanized pipe, and already we're off to a bad start. So definitely, after the turbo, I can't leave mild steel stuff on there. It's just not gonna, especially if it's something you could see. A lot of times you can't see the exhaust, and if someone's gonna open it up and see our work, like there, it's gonna have to be stainless. Huh. So
It's super hot, the charge pipe.
we've got a vacuum actuated, looks like with boost, dump, heat shielded going up over the,
Oh, hey, that's connected to the exhaust.
wow.
That's exhaust.
So pressure opening that up. That's unique. Less than ideal angle here. Although since that's on the exhaust, it's probably set up that way. So like, ugh. I could see why he wanted to do something about this. Man, there is so many lines running near really hot stuff. And I suppose since this is opening up, like, cool. It hasn't opened in a while. Big chunk of carbon there. That you're really not dealing with horsepower issues? Because that's about as free flowing as it's gonna get, but.
Yeah, that's just a 90. It is straight down.
Wow. I mean, with that dump there, Cody, I don't even know if we need to go
Another dump.
to the 4-inch. So you guys might remember another white Trans Am that was in a little bit better shape. That Cody did a beautiful exhaust system that ended up sounding really, really nice. Owner absolutely loved it. Phil B. That was a twin turbo, very powerful car. Probably not as much power. The main thing here is I don't think power is going to be an issue. I would love to have done, and I wasn't aware of that dump. I probably should have been following a little closer, but I would have loved to have done a before and after comparison to see if we can gain any power over what he has. But being that there's a dump there, probably not going to be too much. He's probably looking more for just to clean this thing up, to be honest. This is kind of hodgepodge. Chambered muffler back here. Classic. These are what we were putting on our cars in high school about this time. 98, 2000 Trans Ams with the tips and the mufflers cut off. Oh man, just like this. It's fun. I hate where this is pointing. I hate it. I just think it's a fire hazard, man. Heat, a lot of stuff going on there. Oh man. Although I am glad, I suppose, that we don't have to get the big diameter piping up and over and out. And we're gonna have to talk to Alex about what he wants to do with this. This isn't going to be a hard job for us to improve the sound, because even if we don't improve the flow over the dump pipe, we're gonna at least be able to get a better tone, and you guys can hear this thing. It does not sound like a V8. You hear a lot of turbo, and that's cool, but it just doesn't have a Trans Am feel at all. And we definitely can improve that, but looking at this system, you can see, well, it probably worked great for getting it quiet for Alex, and there's really nothing wrong with it. He had the dump, plenty of power. When it opened up, I'm sure it sounded plenty of V8, but this closed system just leaves a lot to be desired and a lot of refinement that we could still fit in there on this chassis. It's gonna be a challenge for us. It's gonna be a challenge for Cody, especially on this deadline, but we've been here before, we've done this before, and when all's said and done, I want our work to be the best piece of work on Alex's car, and starting with this exhaust is exactly how we're going to do that. All right, Alex, I gotta look and listen to the exhaust.
Yeah.
Now, I've been around you a few times. I've seen this car. I was not fully aware what was going on under there. I would say it is enlightening.
There's a lot. I want to have a 1,000 wheel with AC on a single turbo, and I need a big downpipe going on the driver's side.
And that is the challenge. Now, it looked like you had a pretty effective way of doing that with that valve, the dump valve. I still can't wrap my head around exactly how that works. It's built off of exhaust back pressure that opens it up.
Yep.
Once it sees enough, it opens the thing up so it can, you know, like...
Yeah, so it's boost activated, and in my testing of back pressures and various turbos, you know, back pressure is higher and kicks in quicker than boost pressure.
To open that guy
And
up.
I wanted the 4-inch valve opened as soon as possible. So, you know, it's automatic in the sense is when you floor it, you have back pressure, it opens, and then it dumps 4-inch to the ground, best of both worlds. So that was the idea, but it's all crammed in there. It rattles, it's annoying. I would love to just have a free-flowing exhaust with no valves.
You want to get rid of the valve?
I mean, in a perfect world, I would have a free-flowing exhaust with no valve. That's
with no valve.
But it is what I know we're working
with. You could
with.
just do a dump out the side or something.
But it's a legit street car. It's got to come out the back. That's the problem with just wanting that. That was my solution, not being a fabricator. And literally, you have full, you know, you do whatever.
I mean, I'm not going to do something typical. You know us. I'm not going to just do this so you could have an exhaust just like every other turbo Trans Am out there. Not that there's a bunch of turbo Trans Ams.
No.
If we're going to do it, I want it to be the nicest possible job.
I appreciate it.
Can be done on these, but like I said, that's the challenge. I've got something interesting for once we get it back over the axle.
Okay.
I think you'll like the setup. I know you were telling me about OEM Plus.
For the tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like what's on there. I don't know,
OEM
dude.
Plus?
I can't remember anymore. So some of these cars had, I think the non-WS6s had some weird ovally thing that looks bad.
I looked on it.
And then they had the quads, and then I
saw the cowbell, the quads. I saw the early ones. The Formula Firebirds had just a single side.
Yes, I know. There were a lot of differences, and I've never owned this car with the factory exhaust that had a catback
I came across an earlier thread of people arguing if the guy's car was original or not, because
we just need to go and bring a trailer and find like a 5,000 mile one and just see what exhaust they had.
No, this should be pretty neat, especially if we're taking it somewhere. I got to make sure that
we got a long drive here in like a week.
We got a long drive, but the main issue is if you show up and no one notices the exhaust, I pretty much didn't do my job, right?
Yeah, well, luckily part of it's going to be right there.
That's the thing. I got to be able to see it from up there, and people got to know something special. So I want to keep all the turbo whine, but this thing's got to sound like an LS. It just doesn't right now.
Let's do it.
Let's see what we can do.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So Alex has these Trans Am inspired retro wheels in a 19-inch version going on the car, and he had them delivered to the shop. And of course, I'm test fitting some tires to try to see how much tire clearance he actually has. This is a 305/30 R19 on here right now, and we're just putting it in place to make sure that he's not gonna have any issues on the inside versus the outside. While we're waiting for parts, just checking it over, doing Alex a quick little favor, but he's gonna decide on if he should try to fit a little bit more meat on this tire or not. I sent him some pictures. Ultimately, it'll be his decision, but I think he can go a little bit fatter. The only thing we got to worry about is this inner fender lip, which could be rolled, but are we going to have enough time to do that before the trip? We'll have to find out. All right, so the hardest part and really hinging on the rest of the build was trying to get as big of a downpipe as we could through the subframe here, and looking at it with the original placement of the up pipe / manifold that was on there, it didn't seem like we'd be able to get too much through there, but I was hopeful to be able to get something through there, and looking at it, I don't think Cody or myself would have believed that we could have fit a 4-inch downpipe, but he made it work. We've got it in there right now, and it looks like it's going to give us just enough clearance in order to be something that doesn't choke this thing up and actually still allows it to make power out of 4-inch. The plan now that we have that set is we need to get back to the rear of the car, a few more hurdles being the lowness of the downpipe, but the nice thing is that this hoop that we have here that protects the exhaust under normal configurations is the lowest point, meaning as long as the 4-inch is below, or I should say above this point, we're gonna be okay. But one more big hurdle. Now the last Trans Am we did had this full track bar system, the panhard bars, everything was tubular, which actually gave us a little bit more room to be able to sneak the pipe through just barely. We can't get 4-inch through there, which means we're going to have to figure out how to neck down, but that actually might be to our benefit in order to control drone a little bit. Now, I had talked to Burn Stainless about something a little bit different and special in order to get Alex the OEM Plus dual setup he was looking for. And what they sent us is something that's used in normal exhaust setups, but not really here. And I present to you guys this. This is a massive 4-in-1 collector, 2 1/4 for the primaries, 3.5 for the outlet, but we're not gonna be using it in the typical way. We're gonna be using it backwards here, meaning the outlet's gonna be the inlet going to the split, and that's how we're gonna get our duals. So a little bit backwards, a little bit funky to be using it this way. You guys remember Burns helped us out big time for the V10 Viper collectors, and they sent us out something beautiful, and we're hoping to be working with them a little bit more here in the future because they were able to get this in the size that we needed, because we needed something massive here and massive here, and I think this is gonna work for what we needed to. Might even make a little bit more of a unique sound for this car. But the problem is getting this thing where we need it, which is going to be somewhere in this area in order to make our split out here, and then these turns to split out there. So we're gonna have to neck down that 4-inch to the 3.5 to get through this little hump here. But once we do, we still have the challenge of getting these out. However, it should be pretty unique looking both in the rear and just in use, and possibly in sound, without killing any of the power that this thing makes, and maybe not droning with very little muffling that has to be installed with this. All right, we are down to the wire and we are getting stuff finished. Manifold, we still have to connect the bellows that goes to the downpipe. We are going to be joining that wastegate so it's no longer dumping to atmosphere.
All right, so I got the dump valve into the exhaust now. When the wastegate opens up, it's just gonna recirculate into the exhaust system, not blowing all over the bottom part of the car. And we'll actually be able to regulate a little bit more with the O2 sensor that's gonna go here. It'll be able to tune better too. At this point, we're basically gonna just weld this thing up 100%. I actually have to take off like 1/4 of an inch here, which is obviously easier to do once it's not tacked on, but that's okay. We got tools for that, and it'll be no problem. Once I get that welded up solid and squared away, I'm gonna put this back in the car, and I'm gonna mount the other side of the wastegate dump tube onto the wastegate, and it's going to go into here. I'm gonna tack that part onto the car. That way we can ensure for 100% proper fitment.
We did get this guy through. The wells are in place, the V-bands are in place. We have a nice exhaust with mounts, and currently, the big issue was I had to take a trip to Winter Circle in Joliet for Cody to get the correct piping he needs to make this exhaust system the way we want to with this 4-in-1 collector. As you can see here, this guy is going to be coming underneath this one. We just didn't have enough length of section in the 2 1/4 that we're using. Got it this morning, was able to dig it up. Big shout out to Winter Circle for supplying it. But that's going to get us across home plate here. Things are looking pretty good, but we leave. How long do we leave, Alex?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, so
And
that
it
is
like afternoon right now, so.
that is
How
what?
many hours? How many working hours left?
Less than 12, huh?
I can't do math anymore with you. We've been at this too long.
It's been a while, so. But it's looking like we're gonna get it done, so back at it. And hopefully we leave tomorrow. All right, we are minutes away from getting this thing started. And while we've got the bones of it, I could spend all day trying to get these tips lined up. I think we've got it in a pretty general position in order to get this thing on the road, because we are really counting down time here. So we got some hangers in there that'll keep this thing secure from bouncing around, but it's not the typical job that we would do. We would spend a lot more time on it, getting these things just right. One of the hardest challenges of welding with these collectors is getting inside of this, and that is always a problem when you're trying to get things airtight. However, being back here doesn't have to be airtight, so you can be a little looser, but it's all a matter of how you start welding and where you finish off, making sure you have enough room for the last weld. Cody's got this pretty close to being done. We've got a few finishing touches if we can get to them, but I wanted to go over one more feature of the exhaust that I'm not sure how exactly it's going to turn out, but it was a necessity in order to maximize ground clearance, which we just don't have a ton. Like I said, this being the lowest point of the exhaust, you can see we matched this here. But the big problem we were having was this little hump right here, and keeping the 4-inch pipe was just pushing this down. So what we ended up doing was taking 2 oval transitions and butting them together just to keep this pipe a little higher, a little tighter, and going to these mounts that we're about to get all secured up here. Should be pretty good, should keep everything tight, but I wonder if this will change the sound at all. No way to really know. Kind of looks like a megaphone, but that being said, it does give us the clearance that we need.
All right, Cody.
I still got time. I'm supposed to meet Alex at this rest station. So to kill time, I'm gonna get something of a workout in. Let's see if I can get some dips done before he gets here. All right, to be honest, I lost count. I know it was over 100. Alex missed an exit, so I got some more time to kill here. Maybe I'll do something else. Waiting for him to come in. Still got 20 minutes or so, but want to get back on the road. Car's still driving good other than that check engine light. We'll see what we can do about getting that taken care of. I got to call in a favor and see if he's available, but if so, might be interesting. A half a workout later, look who decides to show up. Alex finally met up with me. It says the Pontiac's running pretty good, sounding good, a little droney. It's what I was afraid of, but let's take a look. That's where the money shot's at. All those pipes. We can do something about the drone at a later time, but he says it's tolerable. In fact, it's more than tolerable. It sounds good. It sounds like a V8 again. I've got the clips from the beginning here. When you hear this thing, you're gonna say it definitely didn't sound like a V8. But 2 LS's going to LSFest. First time for both of us. I'm excited. This should be fun. I'd say this thing was a lot less put together yesterday. Wasn't bad, but was it roadworthy? How many miles we do so far, Alex?
I don't, at least 100, 150, something like that. I don't know.
So I'm impressed. Everything feels good, sounds good.
AC works.
AC works, so that's excellent. And you got some new things on there, the catch can, the throttle cable. No problems. Knock on wood. So Alex's Trans Am just sprung a fuel leak. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's anywhere easy. We're gonna have to jack the car up and try to see what's going on. Right along the firewall. I don't see it on this side, but we see it coming down just behind that Y block. Hoping it's somewhere just a little lower than there. Something we can fix, not a rub-through line. All right, we had to go get some jack stands. What we think's going on is the rail. Those bolts either are just a hair too loose, and the O-ring on the back cylinder here, hard to tell, but is just a little popped out. That's where the leak's coming from, which actually might not be that bad of a fix if we don't have to yank the whole rail. Do you know how stupid this is, that this didn't last this long?
That's insane.
Like 450 miles,
Yeah.
and then
And
we are
months.
literally in town. Literally in town. This is the dumbest thing ever.
Could have just happened at your shop.
I'm so mad. It could have happened
At my shop.
4 more miles down the road too.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's so frustrating. But let's see if we could just slide the rail out with having to really get into getting some stuff out. It's just the rails though. Worst case, we got to pull the rails, but it's still not something we want to do literally 4 miles down the road. Alex, this might work, dude.
Is it spinning okay?
I think I got it stuffed back in there.
No way.
I want to go down with those side ones.
Yeah.
I think we should loosen them now so
Okay.
we get a little bit more
downward.
Right.
But actually, I'll tighten this one. I'll leave that one loose. Dude, it's in there.
Man, it's so hard to see in there, guys.
No, but it was out before.
Yeah,
it's in there now.
All right.
We got something. It was just that injector O-ring. We got it sealed up. We just got to get back because he leaked out all of his gas. We had a gallon. We got to find some more.
So this guy feels like it's a little thicker.
Okay.
Maybe. It's definitely not as squishy as this one. This one's like
Yeah.
super rubbery.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with the blue. Can't go wrong. I think.
I think. All right,
I don't know.
That, and then I've got your injector.
So Alex lost his gas again. The O-ring pushed out. We got a new O-ring on there. Hopefully that'll get us to a gas station. But I've got to go get him another gallon of gas because he leaked it all out. So hopefully we're gonna get the gas in there. Doesn't need a new O-ring, and we get to the track. Okay. Holy crap!
Did we make it?
We made it.
We made it.
And it didn't leak.
Yes.
How many gas stations do we stop at?
4.
Yeah.
Or 5.
In that 3 miles
Yeah.
on the way to town.
Oh, man.
470 miles that O-ring holds out.
Yeah.
And then it butts 3 miles away.
Yeah.
That's pretty dumb.
It was much more than that. It's been like 2 or 3 months and probably a total of like 700 miles.
It could have been a harder fix though. It could have been a lot
we
harder
got
fix.
so lucky. Like, dinner and drinks are coming, man.
We earned them tonight.
deserve
So let's get registered,
Yeah.
figure out where the heck you're going to be.
Okay.
And I'm just tagging along.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Let's do it.
So not only am I here with Alex, but I'm also here with my buddies. You remember them from my video at Ohio Summit Motorsports Park. But this time they brought something different. That thing has an LS in it, and we are going to check out their spot where they got the RV, where they're going to be parking this thing tonight. Get situated so that way we got a little bit of a home base during the event. Once we get that set,
1,000 feet. Turn left.
we're then going to go and see if we need to register in the Holly booth, get everything set. But unfortunately, due to the problems that we had today, we're a little bit behind. The day's festivities are over, but that's okay. We got the whole day tomorrow, and I think some stuff runs into Sunday too. So I'm excited to be here. It's been a long few days. I'm beat, I'm tired, but I don't think anything's ending anytime soon. So we're gonna find out what kind of trouble we get into tonight. All right, so it's the first day, and we got here admittedly a little late, Zach, but I've been told I needed to run into you. You are the kind of head honcho, kind of,
One of 3.
brain maybe behind Burnout Wars, which I've seen a little bit about it. I follow, but from what I've heard, it sounds pretty cool. I can't wait to check it out tomorrow night.
This lineup for this show it's awesome, right? A lot of our heavy hitters that follow us throughout the nation at a lot of our shows. This gentleman, obviously, big 1471. It's on methanol, 427. He used to run a big block in it. That exploded at our very first show, unfortunately. But
Now he's got the LS.
the LS actually is a lot more efficient. You'll notice that in our shows, there's a lot of LS-based cars because A, parts are simple and they tend to live a little longer when you're turning a lot of RPM. My business partner, Zach, he's the man here. Dude's been busting ass. Oh, here's one of the Mad Nats boys right now. There you have it. I hope to see you. Look, I want to get you in a car tomorrow.
I'll be there. You tell me what time.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I'm thinking like 7 o'clock. It'd be good.
Thanks for taking the time with me today, man. I
Nice,
really
man. No
appreciate it.
worries, man.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Hell yeah, me
I need
too.
to find it.
That's good.
All right, the day's starting off pretty interesting already. Alex is already having problems with this Trans Am. Sounds like it's cutting out a cylinder. Hit a stop a few times, but he's got the car parked. We're at the Holly booth, and we're gonna go check it out to see if we can figure out what's going on today, because we still have the ride back to make, and we don't have any time to not be working on it, so we might have to work on it here. All right, so basically just isolating where the dead cylinder's at. It still could be ignition, it still could be fuel, could be a number of things on the circuit, but at least we know where we gotta look. All right, What I don't like is this. Yeah, shine your light. That looks burnt or no?
It looks wet too, dude. And it might be.
But also, if like chicken or egg though.
Yeah, it's not bad enough, but I don't like that it's wet.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't firing. Is the Holly smart enough to turn off the injector? So then it's been spraying fuel on it.
I mean, we have to,
You know?
It says 14.7, but here's the thing, like ethanol is based off of lambda. So it's technically not 14.7, it's wherever stoichiometric ratio is and then it adjusts down. Do you know what I mean? So like,
I want to see if I can switch it to lambda.
like ultimately you could do the conversion in your head. Like you're more or less that rich, more or less that lean. But that being said, like, Alex, legit street car, beach towel out of that stuff you have.
Oh, you're right.
Dude, because people would buy that just to flex
Yeah.
you at the beach or the pool, but it would be an awesome fucking beach towel, dude.
I know, it's soaked up in like 2 seconds.
That only cost you $1 million. That idea. So you could just pay overtime. It's fine. All right, so we already talked about how we figured out that the plugs were actually getting too wet, possibly from the tune, possibly from other conditions.
It worked out great.
But going over what Alex actually had in the car, we were talking about it, and he was running an 8 heat range NGK, which is pretty cold. So the heat range is where the electrode sits in there, and that has an effect where the porcelain sits and its openness, the gap around it, and that has an effect on its propensity to detonate. So going with the colder heat range tends to make the car safer and less likely to detonate. The problem being though is that you actually want to run the hottest spark plug you can without detonating. So it's not something where you just keep adding on heat ranges and going colder for no reason. If you need the 8 heat range, then you go with the heat range. The thing you're always trading off is they can foul out easier, they can get wet easier the colder you go. So discussing it with Alex, we decided to go with a step hotter, actually, back to a 7, which is where he was at before. I told him 8's just too old. Let's step it back. So we've got these NGK R plugs, which are actually, in my opinion, for somebody who's going to be wrenching all the time, constantly switching in and out of their spark plugs, pulling them out, reading them, checking them. I actually said we probably should have gone with something a little longer life, because Alex really doesn't want to be pulling all these spark plugs, especially that cylinder 8, which is back there. Real tight, real hard to get to. That said, we've got them all back in there. It took us a little while. It's a step colder. We know the car runs better. They're not getting wet anymore. The only thing we're gonna have to do is get somebody out here to see if the bass tune, which is just a loose bass tune, is maybe a little too rich in certain areas, which cause those plugs to get wetted out. But it's running good again. We've got the new plugs in there. We still got to fire it up, but let's see maybe if we get someone from Holly to help us out so this doesn't happen again, especially in the ride home.
Oh, OJ, we also might have had a bunch of fuel in the fucking cylinders and shit. Who knows? You know, I don't count it.
I don't count it either, but that's why I like to start it up before he gets there.
Right.
A big concern of ours is Alex more or less has a base file on there. Now it did 470 miles, no real issues. Our worry though is that the plugs did flood out. Is it just off a tiny bit in an area? Maybe something we didn't check over, that since we're here, we have a resource like Holly and Alex is here at their booth. We asked somebody to just plug in and make sure that nothing isn't obviously wrong, because he's still got to make the 470 mile trip back. And if we've got the experts here, we might as well ask them. All right, so your car got the blessing from Holly. They said the tune looks safe, good. We'll make it home.
It looks good. Kind of like this Polish sausage. Pretty good too.
We're gassing up because we're about to go out into the middle of Burnout Wars, which is going to be pretty interesting.
It's going to be awesome. We were supposed to ride, but that didn't happen, which is fine because those cars honestly look kind of scary.
Yeah, I was a little worried when he was like throwing us in there, but we're gonna be pretty close to the action. So
Australian style, burnout.
Australian style, eating some food, and then we're heading out. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a little nervous.
I'm nervous. OJ's carb loading. I'm protein loading right now, so we'll be all right.
Well, we should be all right. We should have enough energy to get through the rest of the night. It's hard to hear anything over these methanol blown cars. It is impressive. My eyes are burning, but we're about to see these things roll the tires until they pop. It's kind of an ominous feel to it with the chemical smell in the air and the loudness. But I'm pretty stoked. Adrenaline's high. I can't wait to see what's about to happen. Good morning, day 3, LSFest. The day we leave, we have to get back on the road. Alex has some things that could potentially be a problem. I also am still dealing with this check engine light. I have a file, but I have to do one more log on the stock tune, stock Lingenfelter tune that was causing the issue with the fuel pump. So I'm logging I just got to make sure we've got a clear set of highway here. Don't have to go that fast. Not going to break the speed limit. Just getting up to speed, more or less. And it's set. Caught it. Again, it's just a little hiccup. It's hard to feel one way or the other, but a slight hesitation. And I think it's just the fuel pump control module telling the ECU, hey, the voltage isn't right, the pump, be careful, throws it in there. But it happens every time I get into it hard, and I don't want to be trying to pass somebody. So if we can get rid of it before we get on the ride home, it would just make things that much safer. Last day at LSFest, we're here. Admittedly, it's a little less busy than it was yesterday morning, as expected. We don't have too much to do today, just kind of saying our goodbyes, checking some things out. We have to hit the road fairly quickly. We've got at least a 7-hour drive, best case scenario. Alex's car is acting up, my car is acting up, so we got to leave enough time for us not to be dealing with something if it gets dark. We want to get on the road, get things tested, but you kind of want to see what's going on here. So let's say our goodbyes, check some things out, and we'll see how this day shakes out. It was nice this morning, kind of just chilling out a little less frantic paced than yesterday, us getting here and
We actually had time to look at all the vendors.
Talk to a few people.
Yeah.
I know you're checking out the Hellcat blower. You got something in mind for that?
I mean, it's a Hellcat and an LS. They're two of my favorite things, and they can go together. So,
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity to just kind of relax, check out things that we weren't checking out, buy some t-shirts for the kids maybe, if we could find something. But I'm still a little worried about the ride home.
Me too. That's why we should leave sooner than later.
Right?
We got good weather.
And if we do have an issue, we'll be in the light, hopefully, having the issue and not on the side of the road in the dark.
Definitely.
So, I don't know, let's wrap up.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we already stopped for gas. I found you some E85, by the way.
Yes, we got a lot of E85. Where are we here, OJ?
You know, I had to get my speedway points, but I saw Boosie's. Is that how you say
Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's. Boosie's what?
Boosie.
Jerry Busey? It's Buc-ee's.
And I figured we'd have to make a stop because what's the nearest one? I think there's famously a sign that says 400 miles to the nearest.
Yeah, I think I was at, I don't know, maybe I was at this one. I went to Atlanta to get the AMG GTR. It might have been this exact one that I stopped at, and it's a spectacle.
It is. I've never seen that many pumps in one spot.
One of my subscribers mailed me the entire Buc-ee's outfit jumpsuit after seeing that. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll get one because
maybe.
I did this. We're making a stop. Let's see if we can find something for the kids and some snacks, and then we're going to hit the road again. All right, now that you've got a couple 100 miles on this thing, I got to ask you, what do you think about the exhaust? Total thoughts.
I think it's awesome. It sounds so good. It feels like a V8 again. You can actually hear it kind of camming more than before, because I think the way I had it merged into the 3, it was just hitting a brick wall, and it was just taking away all the sound. It was kind of weird. Now it's just more proper. That's kind of like the best way I can describe it. It's proper.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it doesn't do it enough justice sitting in the car hearing it free rev. Like those highway pulls that I was behind you on sounded pretty different, pretty good, especially since we were listening to all those LSs all weekend. It was nice to be able to pick on just a subtle difference, but yeah, as long as you're happy, man, I'm happy.
Yeah, and also this is on like literally 3 or 4 PSI of boost right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole boost system is shut down, shut off on purpose because we haven't really tuned it. So we barely have any turbo action going on.
I can't wait to hear when you open that thing up. But now I think people get a pretty good idea just hearing what it's doing, especially compared to what it was.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, this is fun, Alex. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Deadlines like this always cut both ways. On one hand, building something that's going to sit at Holly's booth and Alex's car pushes us to the edge of our skills. On the other hand, the clock means that details like perfect drone control or hanger art get left on the we'll fix it later list. That said, we rolled into LSFest with what was a one-off system that hit every box that we cared about. Sound, flow, drivability, and show-stopping presence. Alex loved it, the crowd loved it, and honestly, so did we. The exhaust does drone a bit. It's basically straight piped, but the real magic was the collector. We took a part most people only ever see at the back of a header and flipped the logic and made it the star of the back of the car. That backwards collector split into 4 tips gave this Trans Am a tone unlike any other turbo F-body. Busy, raw, and unmistakable once it climbed past 5,000 RPM. Yet somehow the step-down quad pipes kept it civilized enough for Alex to feel it was still a legit street car, something you could actually live with day to day, which is no easy feat at this power level. And while doing all of that, it manages to look pretty damn cool. Burn Stainless deserves another shout out here because their custom piece became the literal centerpiece of the whole system, and I'll put the link in the comments. Without it, the car might have sounded good, but with it, it became unforgettable. The bigger takeaway, though, is why we drive to these events in the first place. It's not about building clever hardware. It's about watching Alex light up when people recognize the car or seeing strangers lean in and listen and then smile. Those reactions make the long nights and problem solving worth it every single time. We proved you can build a 1,000 horsepower street car that sounds unique, drives the show under its own power, and still has AC. And if that doesn't make this Trans Am special, I don't know what does. This build wasn't just about tubing and collectors. It was about taking something rough from the early days of YouTube car culture and giving it the polish it deserves. Projects like this remind us why mod culture keeps evolving, and sometimes the best upgrades aren't the newest trends, but doing the old ideas better than before. Now I want to know, what's the worst exhaust that you've seen on a finished build? Drop it in the comments, and bonus points if it was held together with hopes, dreams, and hose clamps. Stay loud, stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next trip.